are you doing?
I'm burying you.
I'm alive! I'm alive!
You're waking the neighbors!
No!
Shut up!
No!
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy, Benny. So Tucker Carlson is ending the year 2023 in grand Tucker fashion by brewing and then spilling tea against somebody who may actually be his foremost competitor now in the streaming and subscription space. His name is Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro owns the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro also employs somebody named Candace Owens. And this wouldn't be Tucker Carlson's first foray into publicly fighting Ben Shapiro. Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro fought famously when they did an interview together many years ago, and there were a lot of sparks that flew in the two differing worldviews of Shapiro and Carlson. Carlson being very much the embodiment of the America first worldview, and the policy prescriptions of it, did not want to deploy more troops or more American resources, waning as they are, to the Middle East once again for a pointless war. So when Israel was attacked in October, many people said, hey, in the American First movement, we shouldn't get involved here, right? And for that, they were criticized, Candace Owens being one of them. Ben Shapiro hopped up on a couch somewhere and decided to go hard in on Candace, saying she was disreputable and disgusting for effectively saying that American treasure, boots, and bombs should be kept here in America and not be sent once more to the Middle East.
The question is about Candace Owens. I think her behavior during this has been disgraceful. Without a doubt.
Everyone's clapping.
Yeah, and she still works for my company. And I think she's been absolutely disgraceful. I think that her faux sophistication on these particular issues has been ridiculous. It's not faux sophistication, it's ridiculous. Everybody can see the moves that she's making and the things that she's saying, and I find them disreputable.
Okay, so this is Ben Shapiro very publicly flaming one of his employees, which I always think is just a bad look, no matter, right? Like, no matter who you are. But hey, listen, man, it's not my company, it's his company. Anyway, that led to headlines like this. Shapiro labels Candace Owens disgraceful for taking America First position on Israel-Gaza war. It led to headlines like this. Daily Wire civil war. Ben Shapiro blasts disgraceful faux sophistication of Candace Owens. Candace Owens had a lot of support online and a lot of people like lending her energy, and Candace Owens responded with a lot of class and dignity, quite frankly. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. So it's quoting Christ, right? So it's quoting the Gospels, right? No one can serve two masters. Either you'll hate one and love the other, or you'll be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. This is like direct quotes from the New Testament. For this, Ben Shapiro quote tweeted this. This was in November, saying, Candace, if you feel like taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means quit. Nope, that's not the right take, man. You have been acting unprofessional and emotionally unhinged for weeks now, and we have all had to sit back and allow it and have tried to exercise exceeding understanding for your raw emotion, but you crossed a certain line when you come for scripture and read yourself into it. I will not tolerate it, says Candace Owens, and then she went to Tucker Carlson and had massively watched interview, nearly 15 million views here, 31,000 retweets, and holy moly, like what a move. Anyway, after all of this, Tucker Carlson did an interview and effectively said that Ben Shapiro is acting un-American in his coverage or overt coverage of the attack on Israel on October 7th. This is the clip that is going newly viral, even though the clip is not brand new. This statement is going massively viral right now.
Really care, but I did think it showed like the level of not just corruption, which I knew, but of like emotional instability and crazy. I mean, there are people, and I stopped reading any of it, but there are people on the right who have spent the last 2 months every single day focused on a conflict in a foreign country as our own country becomes dangerously unstable on the brink of financial collapse, with tens of millions of people who shouldn't be here in the country. We don't know their identities or the purpose of their being here. Like stuff that's could destroy the country for real and make it impossible for my kids to live here. They've said nothing about that, and they're focused with laser intensity on foreign conflicts. And I'm like, at some point, I've got 4 kids. If I'm so caught up in the problems of my neighbor's children and completely ignoring my own children as they get addicted to drugs and kill themselves, you know, I'm not against helping my neighbor's kids, but clearly I don't love my kids. I mean, that's the only logical conclusion, and they don't care about the country at all. And that's kind of their prerogative, but I do, because I have no choice, because I'm from here, my family's been here hundreds of years, I plan to stay here. Like, I'm shocked by how little they care about the country, and including the person you mentioned. And I can't imagine how someone like that could get an audience of people who claim to care about America, because he doesn't, obviously, right?
Right. Well, I mean, Tucker, we've seen it too on free speech. I mean, people who become multimillionaires, who've made entire careers, who've literally became famous, on this very reason. I know you've spoken about this previously, but it's very important to our audience as well. Is that standing up for free speech rights of people you disagree with is probably the most important exercise, and we've seen some of that come for American citizens on Palestine. How do you work through this too when we're both under such immense pressure, even social pressure, of like, how could you support this? Take maybe the context of the university presidents. We've got billionaires like Bill Ackman, I'm curious what you make of this. My assessment is they're upset that they're not included as marginalized within the DEI regime. They claim to be against.
So that's Sagar and Jetty effectively saying that the people who claim that they're against cancel culture and they're in favor of free speech and then canceling people who say speech about Israel they disagree with, those people are frauds. So this is what the point that Sagar's making. Anyway, what you heard there is Tucker Carlson effectively saying that Ben Shapiro is un-American, right? Now, at time of recording, Ben Shapiro has not responded to this particular clip, which is all over my timeline right now. But he has responded on his show. We like to play you, of course, both sides. And, it's a small world, man. We know a lot of these people. We know all of these people, right? And so we want to effectively let both sides argue for themselves. I happen to be on the side. I don't like warring with people in public. I think I like directing my fire towards the actual enemy that I have, which is the Marxists. They're trying to just truly destroy this country. However, I have openly wound up on more on the side of Candace Owens here, obviously, which is like no more American involvement in boondoggles and adventurism. And the destruction of our entire empire will come at foreign adventurism. That's why George Washington warned against it, that this was the downfall of Rome and Grecian and every empire, actually, Napoleon on down. Every empire was undone by foreign adventurism and wars of conquest. And so I got a stomach-turning moment when I see everyone calling for American troops in Europe again or in the Middle East again. This is how you destroy a country, man. And they're on their way. Ben Shapiro's response to Tucker Carlson's attacks here.
And Tucker, by the way, then continued along these lines. He did an interview with Vivek Ramaswamy, and he likened what just happened in Israel, the kidnapping of women and their rape. I mean, he's showing video of this happening, like as he's talking about this. He compared that to drug overdose deaths in the United States. Now, I believe we should fully care about the 100,000 drug overdose deaths that happen in the United States. These are two completely different issues. To go this far afield to link the issues, the only reason you're doing this is because you wish to downplay the atrocity that just happened in Israel. You're not upplaying the atrocity of what's happening on America's streets. Those are two different types of atrocities. People who are addicted to fentanyl, sticking needles in their arms and overdosing is a moral blight. It is a moral atrocity and a moral evil for people to kidnap women, rape them, and drag them back to the Gaza border. Those are not the same thing. And Tucker knows that. But this is a cheap way of telling you not to look. Don't look. Stop caring. Because after all, what does it matter? What does it matter? Now, again, I don't know who thinks that that's a sophisticated point of view, especially when nobody is calling for America to go to war with Iran. The entire purpose of having an aircraft carrier in the Mediterranean is to avoid that. But here is Tucker playing. I don't even know the game he's playing. This is just a dumb game.
But you don't have to look far in the United States for moral outrages also on video. And there's not a city in this country, not just the big cities, but cities of 10,000 people. I was in one yesterday that doesn't have some constellation of drug-addicted young people living outside. We call them the homeless. They're drug addicts. And they're addicted to drugs that were imported across an open border.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I don't understand.
More than 100,000 a year. Now, you could call it genocide. You can call it whatever you want, but it's the death of over 100,000 Americans a year and the living death of millions more.
Well, you can't call it genocide. It's not genocide.
So I don't understand.
I'm sorry, people who are addicted to drugs and living
in
outside.
Israel, and again, I want to add my voice to that because I'm a human being. But
oh, sure you do.
The
you sound very
scale of
outraged.
The outrage among Republican presidential candidates was so much more intense. One of them took to a bullhorn and started yelling about it. I get it, but no one would think to do that about the 100,000 American young people murdered every year. And
because who are you yelling at? Who are you yelling at? First of all, people are on bullhorns yelling about drug overdoses and the open border all the time. All the time. What is he even talking about? What he's attempting to do is minimize what happened in Israel. He's not attempting to maximize what happened in the United States. He's attempting to minimize, as though America can't walk and chew gum, morally speaking, at the same time, which is absurd. And those two things are nothing alike. I'm sorry, that is not alike. It is not alike for drug smugglers to smuggle drugs over the border, which someone then takes and shoves into their arm and then they die of an overdose. That is not the same thing. I promise you, it is not the same thing as a terrorist breaking into your home and murdering your children in their beds in front of you and dragging your wife off to be raped in Gaza. That is not the same thing. Pretending that it is immoral. It's a moral blight. It's idiocy. It's just moral stupidity at the highest level. Of course we should care about what happens with fentanyl. Of course we should care about, we should close our border. Have I been unclear about this? Of course America should have closed borders when it comes to this sort of stuff. I'm on the same side as Tucker on that. I just don't understand why he's not on my side when it comes to Hamas has to be wiped off the face of the earth. What exactly is the counter argument? In any case, this sort of moral sophistication is predicated on only one of a few possible hypotheses. The most dark and terrible is the possibility that people just don't give a damn when Jews get killed by terrorists. I'm not accusing Tucker of that. I'm not accusing Whitlock of that. In fact, I'm not even accusing the AOCs of the world of that. Although I think she's closer to the border, considering the only tweet she has sent in this entire ridiculous situation is a tweet finding one Jew in New York saying a bad thing that the Israeli government does not even carry forth. That's the only thing she's seen fit to tweet about this. I'm not accusing all these people of that. What I am accusing them of is a moral blindness that must be caused by a complete flattening of the cultural landscape, in which everybody thinks the same way that we do, and that every problem can be solved in the same way, and that it is of no consequence whether evil walks the earth, because all problems are basically, that's what realism truly is. Well, that's not realistic. That's stupid. Those are not the same thing. Again, when it comes to policy questions about what should be done in the Middle East, that is a question of prudence. It's a question of pragmatism. It's a question of American interests, which, again, are not always identical with Israeli interests. When it comes to comparing the Holocaust-level evil we just saw in Kfar Aza with people overdosing on the streets of Philadelphia, I have some moral questions. I do.
So once again, I know all parties involved here. I've stated my piece. Adventurism and like forever wars end up destroying empires. And I am an American. I was born here. I plan on dying here. I've raised my kids here, and so this is the place I wish to protect. On the other hand, it's important to, in a moral imperative, to call out evil where and when you see it. And so it is very important to call out. You can call out evil and you can pray for people without having to risk American lives and treasure in the process. Because quite frankly, if we don't have a country, and if our country fails, then what other darkness will overtake the world? Important question to ask, and one that I hope I never have to see happen in my lifetime. Doing my best to fight to prevent that from happening. Please, ladies and gentlemen, stay based and understand that we are fighting for you. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.